Hæ Claudia.
Velkomin í podcasti af hverju Ísland.
Já, takk fyrir sömuleiðis.
Í dag ætlum við að tala við Evu og hún vinnur hérna á Sea-Life og hún frá Póllandi og ég þekki hana og ég ákvaði að senda á hana bara línu hvort hún ekki að koma.
Pína vini og ættingja ennþá.
Já, það sama sagan alltaf. Og mér finnst bara giga spennandi að hún sé að vinna hjá Sea-Life og í öllu þessu mikill dýravinur.
Já, og menntuð í þessum geira.
Já.
Skildi hann rétt, hún dýralæknir?
Nei, hún
fræðingur
eitthvað. Ég veit ekki hvernig það þýðist nákvæmlega.
Nei, akkurat. Og hún starfar hjá Sea-Life sem útlenskt fyrirtæki sem í því að bjarga dýrum.
Já. Meðal
annars hvölum og fuglum hérna í Vestmannaeyjum.
Já. Og hún búin að vera hérna á Íslandi í 7 ár. Hún á mann sem frá Spáni. Þau voru að kaupa sér bara fyrirtæki.
Já, hún ætlar að segja okkur frá því og mjög áhugavert starfið hennar á Sea-Life. Hún segir okkur svolítið frá því.
Já, og svo kannski eitthvað sem við náðum ekki einu svona að taka upp. Það bara, þú veist, hún veit rosalega mikið hvali. Þú bara eitthvað að tala við hennar það var
Þeir eru búin að slökkva, já, akkurat.
Hún vissi bara rosalega mikið alls konar rannsóknir á hvölum og eitthvað. Mér finnst þetta gaman. Mér finnst líka sérstaklega gaman þegar fólk gerir eitthvað sem það hefur áhuga á. Flytur hingað og getur unni við það sem þeim langar.
Já. En ef við þá ekki bara skella okkur í það?
Jú.
Við þurfum að minna fólk á okkur.
Já, og kannski láta vita að við séum að fara í sumarfrí. Við erum bara svo miklu sumarskvísur að við verðum í sumarfrí á sitt hver tímanum og það bara rosalega erfitt að taka upp á meðan.
Já.
Þannig að við ætlum að taka okkur
útlandaferðir og hjá sumum og
já. Svona. Þannig að við tökum okkur hlé og við heyrumst aftur í haust.
Já.
En fyrir utan það er alltaf hægt að hlusta á einhverja þætti sem við hefum kannski ekkert að hlusta á. Tekka á gamlu þáttum.
Já.
Og já, findu okkur á Facebook af hverju Ísland podcast og Instagram af hverju Ísland og á YouTube af hverju Ísland og líka
og öllum podcast veitum, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Já.
Audioboom dreifiveitan.
Það dreifiveitan, en svo á öllum helstum svona hlaðvarps veitum ættum við að vera. Já.
Ertu ekki bara pínu spennt fyrir að komast í frí?
Ég er rosalega spennt. Það er ekki búið að vera nýtt spennandi sumar hér. En það voru alveg 2-3 vikur í maí. Svo hefur bara rigning.
Voða mikið. En við vorum samt, þó að sé hefð fyrir rigningu á 17. júni, þá vorum við ekki með rigningu þá.
Nei.
Það var bara blíða í Vestmannaeyjum þá.
Já, kemur óvart.
Já.
En það átti að vera
pínu gjóla bara.
Já, það átti að vera rigning fyrst.
Það átti að vera haugarigning, sko. Poppið á Sundfélaginu hefði verið ansi blautt ef að spáin hefði gengið eftir á skemmtuninni. En ef ekki bara drífa í þessu.
Jú, gjör svo vel. So hi, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Ewa Malinowska. I live in Vestmannaeyjum, but originally I'm from Poland.
So the first question, why Iceland?
It's a good question, and I don't have really good answer for it. I would say it was a little bit random selection to move to Iceland. I decided to move to Iceland just pretty much after I graduated from my university. And like I would say everyone after graduation, I was broke, and friends suggested me to come to Iceland because he was studying here, and he said that's very easy to get a job in Iceland. It's well paid. So I was like, okay, why not? Let's try to get a job in Iceland. So that's how it started.
And did you move straight away to the Vestmannaeyjar or?
No, first I've been living mostly in Reykjavik, but during my stay in Iceland I've been also living in Bíldudalur in Westfjord and also in Akureyri.
Okay, so were you surprised about Iceland?
About Iceland or about weather?
Yeah, the weather.
Yes, so the first we arrived to Iceland for the first time, it was in the middle of December. And I remember that we haven't really checked the weather forecast before. We kind of just knew that we are going to Iceland. It's supposed to be cold and dark. But on the airplane, we learned that there's a massive snowstorm and all the roads are closed. And we had no idea how to get from airport to Reykjavik. So we were just in the plane wondering what we're gonna do, but luckily the guy who was sitting next to us, an Icelander, he offered us a ride, so he made sure that we get safely our first destination in Iceland. And yes, we were surprised by the weather. Like, we heard about the storms, but we didn't expect that much snow and like real closure of everything. That
And you're talking about we? Who did you come with?
With my boyfriend Rodrigo.
Okay. And how was the first job? How did it go from there?
So our first job when we came to Iceland, like really like without expectation, like we haven't done good research before coming to Iceland. We were just looking for a job, and we were looking for a job with accommodation. And because I have a background in animal husbandry, so that's what I was studying in Poland, I kind of wanted to work with animals straight away. So our first work was actually on a farm. So it was nice. I would say it was a good start to come to Iceland because we're straight away with locals and they were helping us a lot with accommodation, and we could really like feel the culture and learn more about the country versus just going straight to Reykjavik and only working with foreigners in the tourist industry. So I think it was nice first step.
Both of you got the same job.
Yes, so we're living together.
But where did you grow up? Where in Poland did you grow up?
So the name of the town is Domkowice Śląskie. It's close to Wrocław. It's like south of Poland, also quite close to the border with Germany and Czech Republic, to just give some idea where it is. So the town was small for Polish standards, like 20,000 people living there, but now like for Icelandic standards, it's a huge town. But for me, it seems very small. And for me, it was also countryside because my house was kind of on the side of the town. Behind was just fields, gardens, and livestock animals. So I had really nice childhood surrounded kind of by the nature, by animals.
Did you have a big family or?
Yes, or again, for Icelandic standards, probably no. I had 2 siblings. And we're living in the house with my parents, with my grandma and sister of my mom. So for kind of Polish standards, like average family, that like few generations are living together. But I know that in Iceland we have much more kids, so it's kind of small and big in the same time family.
Were you able to study in your hometown, or did you just until high school, and then did you have to move away for university, or could you study in your town?
Yes, so in my town there's no university, it's too small for that, but there was a bigger town just 60 kilometers away with university, so that's where I had to move to go for the uni.
And when did you graduate from there?
In 2015.
And did you move straight away to Iceland after that, or?
Yeah, a few months after. So after graduation I went first for volunteering job in France. It was about environmental education. So that's where I met my boyfriend Rodrigo. He's Spanish. So I knew kind of that I cannot really come back to Poland and look for a job there if I want to be with him. So we had to look for something else together. That's why Iceland was like a nice option.
So it wasn't an option to move to Spain either?
No, I don't like heat. So when we met in the summer and I went to visit him and his family in Spain at like 40 something degrees, it was way too much for me. I couldn't think, like my brain was fried, so it's not a climate for me.
But how is he doing here?
First years I think was not the best, but now he gets used to.
Okay.
So I think now we have similar tolerance for heat as me. So it's when we are going back to Spain, like I can see that he's suffering in the sun.
Yeah.
So he's now used to the weather here.
Yeah. So how did it happen that you moved to Vestmannaeyjar?
So everything started probably with the COVID, because before that I was working as a whale watching guide in Reykjavik, and when COVID started in 2019 there was pretty much no jobs because all the tourist industry just shut down. So the first person person who got a job here was in fact Rodrigo, because we had a friend who was going to move to Canada to start PhD studying puffins, and that friend connected us with Erpur, who is studying puffins here in Vestmannaeyjar, and he offered job for Rodrigo to be his field assistant during that summer 2019. So Rodrigo first started working here, and then soon after, I saw that Sea Life had a job advertisement for assistant animal caretaker, and I applied, and they needed someone to start straight away, and I was here, so I got a job. Oh, okay, so I said it was 2019, but it was 2020, to correct it. It was 2020.
And you still work for Sea Life?
Yes, I still work there. And Rodrigo still works for Erpur, but he also now works for University of Iceland with orca research, so he has two part-time jobs.
And you also bought a small company?
Yes, and we also bought a kayak company last summer.
How did that happen? I know both of you love animals and everything.
Nature.
Everything's kind of about it. But how did you get there?
So we bought like outdoor activities, and we already had one kayak, like double kayak. And last summer, after just being a whole summer here, I really wanted to buy a kayak for ourselves so we can go kayaking more often. And I heard that the previous owner of the kayak company is closing the business. So I thought that maybe he gonna sell some equipment cheaper. So the original idea was to just buy 1 or 2 kayaks from him, but we ended up buying everything because we thought, why not? It seems to be good price and kind of easy business to run, so we just decided to buy everything and then take over that.
Is this the first summer you were?
Yes, so now we start operating in April, and we're trying to do some tours between our other jobs, and also hoping to have good weather. So this month was not the best. I would say May for the moment was like the best. With the
Have you been busy?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are very busy.
Are you surprised about how you can run company in Iceland? Is there anything that like shocked you or?
I thought it's gonna be more complicated. So I'm very positively surprised because I feel like in Poland, when I hear about people running businesses, it seems to be much more complicated and much more paperwork. And in Iceland, you apply for few permissions, and that's pretty much all. And then you just hire an accountant who deals with everything and just pay invoices that come to your bank account. It seems to be quite easy. Like, I hope we're doing everything right, but for the moment, it seems to be quite easy. I would say that the most important part is just to find a good accountant and everything else can go smooth.
You have any questions?
Yeah, I was wondering, you've been living here for what, 7 years about?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any traditions that you brought with you from Poland that you, like around Christmas time or Easter or like Independence Day of Poland or anything like that?
So I feel like not really, because I never really liked Easter, so I'm kind of happy to not celebrate it. I don't know why, it was never my holiday. And then like Christmas, yes, I like to cook more traditional food I know from home, but that would be all, I would say.
How do you mix it together?
That was my next question.
Like, do you have Spanish, Polish, Christmas, or do you switch, or you don't care, you just eat whatever you like?
Yeah, pretty much. We eat whatever we like, and also we take from the traditions whatever we kind of like. So, like in Spain, they have different dates to give each other gifts than like we have in Poland, for example. So in Poland, we have the Santa Claus Day, 6th of December. So now for us, that's the first day we are giving each other gifts. Then, of course, on Christmas Day, but in Poland, it's like in Iceland, so it's 24th, the Christmas Eve, we are giving each other gifts. And then in Spain, it's also 6th of January.
So a lot of gifts
yes.
at your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're just taking the best of Christmas.
Yeah. Do you visit your family a lot back in Poland?
Yes, so I feel like I'm lucky with that because there's good flights, good connections to go to Poland in the summer, not really in the winter, because when their ferry is not running, there's no way to get to the airport. But yeah, like since May, I think I've been home like 4 times. because also like in my company we have these reduced work hours, so because animals, they need the same kind of amount of care, so we cannot shorten the workday to 7 hours. But instead we have every second week 3 days off. So for me it's easy to go then to home for like 3-4 days and just be back at work, just taking maybe 1 day off. So very convenient.
And has your family visited you here?
Just my siblings. My parents, they don't really want to travel. They don't speak English and they never travel, so they're kind of people who prefer to travel in their own country and go abroad.
I want to ask you about living in Vestmannaeyjar. How do you like living here? How did society take you here? How do you like it?
I like it. I never liked living in Reykjavik. I always found that Reykjavik is kind of, I don't know, like big city, but doesn't really offer much, and it's harder to really meet people and like be closer with people. And I know all the entertainment you have in Reykjavik, like cinemas or shopping centers, was never really my thing, so I never found it like beneficial for a big town. I really liked when we were living one summer in Westfields. I really liked then because it was a really small community, and from day one, like when people realized that you're not a tourist but you're staying, like suddenly everyone was super friendly, like people on the streets were inviting us for parties. So I really liked that, and then living in Akureyri was also nicer than living in Reykjavik because you kind of very easily recognize, locals. And then here it's the same. Like I feel like now when we are here 2 years, kind of know some people, and then we know who knows other people. So I like the idea of smaller communities when you just get to know people. And I also feel like first year when we were living here, at the beginning, it was harder to meet people. We always kind of felt like strangers. But since we got a dog last spring, we met so many more friends. Like now we know, say, half of the town just from the dog park. Like we don't even know the names of the people. We just know the dog names. We're making much more friends just having a dog.
And also, it was COVID hit when you just moved here, so that made it more difficult.
Because everything was closed, we were just at home.
Were you surprised by the commute, like the ferry, that you can't rely on it during winter time?
Yes, so the first year I would say it was kind of more like adventure, like kind of funny thing, like, oh, we're stuck on the island. Last winter I started to feel that a little bit more annoying, like when you need to get out from the island, you cannot.
You have something planned.
Exactly, and there's no way to get out of the island. So now we are kind of nervous about planning any other trip like abroad in the winter, because you never know.
Because you have to learn how to read the weather forecast to a very the details, the heights of the waves, which direction the wind.
You have seen, like, sometimes we are 3 people by one computer, and like, okay, I'm going on Thursday, today is, I don't know, Wednesday, and oh my god, I don't know, will the ferry go to
Do I have to go today?
Yeah, maybe I will go tomorrow. Oh, I don't know. Let's just not take any chances. Let's go today. And we are like 3 people. Oh yeah. We go today. Yeah, the wave is too high. Yeah. And then also it changes like every few hours.
You never know till the last moment. The ferry announced you're waking up at 6 o'clock and just refreshing at the airport.
If you want to be safe, just book a hotel like 3 days before and stay in Reykjavik. But I know your job at Sea Life is like crazy interesting. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, so I'm working with animals we have there. So we have 2 beluga whales, and we rescue birds and also aquarium. So I'm working with everything a little bit. I kind of applied for that job mostly, I think, for bird rescue part. I always wanted to feel that I can make some sort of a difference. So it's not only just working with animals to pet them and to maintain them, but also kind of feel that you are doing something good. So that was, I think, the main reason why I applied for the job. I wasn't at the beginning really sure about the part of whales, because my experience with whales was only wild whales, and I had mixed feelings about keeping whales or dolphins in captivity. Like, yeah, let's say I was against that. But I learned a lot through the job. Like, I learned that nothing is really black and white, and what we are trying to do, I really hope it's gonna make kind of more impact globally, like, you know, for other marine parks, and like the tendency will change, and people also will stop really paying and visiting those especially really badly managed attractions with dolphins, and instead they will just go to see, you know, animals in more natural setup.
But have you changed your mind completely, or are you still on a grey area?
I'm in a really grey area because it really depends on the animals. Like, like I'm not that type of activist. I never really believe that, you know, releasing, you know, all animals from the tank could solve the problem, because that's never any solution. It's the same, like, I know it's for farming when activists are going and releasing meat, and that really causes more problems for the environment than saving a problem. So yeah, releasing animals that were once domesticated is never the best solution. So it's good to look for alternatives. So I'm definitely still against capturing wild animals to selling them for the marine parks. But at the same time, like, not all animals, I guess, would like to be released. That's another point. Like,
they wouldn't be able to survive because they don't know how to get food for themselves and so on, because they've been trained to let somebody feed them, you know.
They are not like wild animals anymore.
Yes, they're not wild animals.
Yeah, they don't have the same behavior.
Yeah, like they tried it with Keiko, the killer whale. They found out after some time that he wasn't able to hunt for fish himself.
Wild whale wouldn't do tricks for people on the shore. Like, you see the difference. So yeah, you have to, like, every animal is different. So after many years in capture, maybe it's different. But
because they are captured quite young, the whales and the dolphins.
So they're mostly capturing like baby whales. So they're the easiest to train and to use to be cared by people.
Okay, these two whales came from China.
Yes.
I don't know if you're allowed to answer this. Do you know if they're thinking about bringing more belugas to the Westman Islands?
Yes. So, if I could understood, the permit and the size of the facility would allow us to have up to 10 belugas. And for belugas would be better to be in the larger group, because in the wild they live in a massive pod of even hundreds of animals. So 2 is better than 1, but it's still not really enough to provide them with, let's say, enough social structure of the group that they would need to feel just better. So we as Sanctuary, we're gonna look into getting more belugas. And the problem is that we first need to move those to the bay, and we need to be sure that they are feeling comfortable to stay in the bay for an entire year, all the seasons, because we need the land facility to quarantine new animals. So
maybe you should, if people don't know what the Sea Life Sanctuary is about, the 2 belugas that you have now, they are in an inside pool at the aquarium, but the plan is to move them to a bay area near of the town where they are supposed to live the rest of the days.
More natural
in a more natural environment.
So they've been already in the bay in 2020 when I started working here. So I started when they were just moved to the bay, so that's where I met them. Then they were moved back for the winter, and then we are trying to redesign how the bay is kind of structured, the pools we have there.
You have had some problems because of the whales, right? They didn't like everything, or...
So, I think the problem was that it was a huge change for them. Since they were captured, they were like for 10 or maybe even 12 years just kept in indoor facility with concrete walls, with the roof over their heads, and suddenly being placed in a place with no walls, no roof. It was a massive
And the lighting is different.
Lighting is different.
When you say it, you can imagine, like, after all those years,
So there was suddenly a lot of space they had to get used to new sensations, new sounds, even waves, fish, like suddenly fish swimming around them, birds flying over their heads,
and the puffins diving in the into the water. Yeah.
So everything was really scary for them at the beginning. So it took time to kind of get used to new environment. So Little Grey, that's the name of one of the whales, was adapting faster, and like we could see that she was kind of enjoying the new environment. She was catching fish even, not really for eating or for playing, but still she was trying to catch some fish. She was chasing birds, so she was definitely like exploring new environment. But the other whale, Little White, she started to be more nervous about new things, so we could see that she's just closing herself even more and more, like had problems to feed her. So when the winter storms started to hit one storm after another, like we could see that they were okay with storms, because the storms might look very bad over the water surface, but underneath in the bay there are not really strong currents, so people just go and dive and wait over the storm. But the problem was for us to get there. So we were nervous on land because we couldn't really see what's going on. And we were really worried that net's gonna break or something gonna happen and we are not there to assist them. That's why the decision was made to move them back to the bay, to the building. And now we're trying to redesign the bay. We are just building a new, like, it kind of looks like a fish farm ring, but the idea is to, with the nets around that, to give whales more protection, more shelter, so they're gonna have this sea pen where they can hide in case of the storms, or at the beginning just to be there to get used to and still have the protection of the, let's say, wall nets they're gonna have there. And then we also gonna have like a housing container. So if
for the humans.
So if there's a really bad weather, we can just be there and we can just stack the food for them, for us, and just be there.
Enjoy chilling in the storm.
No, but it sounds like that, but we, like, everyone who works there, we're so dedicated to those animals. Like, we cannot sleep we couldn't sleep when there was like really heavy storm, and all of us, instead of sleeping, were worrying about the whales.
Do you have like cameras?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have cameras, and that's another like nice part about living in a small community. Because at the beginning, when we moved whales, we've been spending like nights with them, but then when we see that they're okay, but we still wanted to have some supervision, so we asked people who are working here in the hotel, because they had night shifts, to have on one of the screens.
Yeah, okay.
From the bay, so it was really nice of them. So if something would be happening, or I don't know, some activities would be going to the nets, we had someone who was having a screen, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah. But when then it was decided to bring them back to the pool during winter.
Yeah.
One of the whales was quite difficult to get her back, wasn't it?
Ah, yes, Little White. So that was problem with Little White.
Yeah.
She was stressed in the bay, that she also lost trust in us. So before the move, they were trained to always come to us when we were calling them, and like go to the smaller pool somewhere it was easier to catch them. But because of the stress and just everything was stressing for her, kind of, then she wasn't responding much. So we had to kind of use different techniques to get her out.
But it is planned to bring them out to the bay this summer, isn't it?
Yes, so everything is almost ready, so it's just a matter of a few weeks, and we're gonna move them. We're gonna keep it kind of quiet, the move this year, because last time, during the first move, there was a lot of media around, and people with cameras, they kind of more disturb than help, trying to get the best footage. So probably locals will know when the whale's gonna be moved, but we are not gonna like officially publish the day to avoid people just coming to.
And if they go to the bay, when they go to the bay, is it then permanent for them? Do you think they would stay there during winter as well?
We will see. Whale's gonna decide. We're gonna see how they are adapting and how the new habitat is functioning. So if everything goes well, then they might stay. But for the moment, I think the official statement is that we're gonna still bring them back for this winter. It's a little bit like difficult because I feel like Sea Life with this sanctuary, we are working also on a very, let's say, middle ground. So we are getting a lot of negative comments and feedback from activists who demand us to release those whales, and they don't understand why we are moving them back and forth.
I've seen that on Facebook.
Yes. And at the same time, we are also getting a lot of negative feedback from industry that keeps whales and dolphins in marine parks, because they think that what we are doing, just even moving them to the open bay sanctuary, it's also not really best for them. So for us, it's kind of difficult to function in this ground that everyone kind of wants to criticize us.
But I would think it would be would be better for them to stay in an almost natural environment than in a pool in Brazil or somewhere,
Yeah.
But I've seen like comments on Facebook about people are not well informed, and they come here maybe every summer, and sometimes they come when the whales are in the pool, sometimes they come when the whales are in the bay, and they're like, well, every time I come here, they're just in the pool, they're never doing anything for them. And I mean, I think it's first get your information right, and the second is like know a little bit about what Sea Life is doing for them before you just comment and everything. So I think, I've seen the hate on Facebook, not Instagram. I don't know if that's also a thing.
I just don't read comments anymore.
But I've seen it, and like there is no point of explaining everything, like from the beginning to the end to every comment. So I think you were still doing a great job about telling everyone on social media what you're doing. So if you want to know, you will check it out, but if not, don't comment. I want to ask you also about the puffin rescue.
The puffin patrol.
But not many people know even what that is. So maybe let's start from the beginning. What it is, when it's happening, how you're doing it.
I guess I'm not the best person to talk about that. I guess you know more, you've been here but Puffin Patrol is just this local initiative when people from the town are collecting baby puffins that are flying into town, and those birds are weighed, registered online, and released. And then those that are injured, if they require any extra care, they are brought to Sea Life, and we're trying to rehabilitate them and release them.
And that is, if something's wrong with the birds, you help them, like Sea Life,
Yes, at least we are trying to collaborate with Puffin Patrol, so that I think what Sea Life was doing for the last 3 years, I think, since they opened in 2019. Before that, it was the old aquarium, old natural museum history, that was trying to help some puffins, and now it's our role. This year, we still haven't really decided what we're gonna do, because there is still a lot of avian flu going on, and the biggest issue is that we cannot bring any wild birds to our building where we have our resident puffins to not...
If they would get infected.
Exactly.
Okay.
And especially that if someone would brought a sick bird and that bird would be confirmed with the avian flu, pretty much the MAST veterinary authority would force us to euthanize all of our birds, even if they would be healthy. That's why we have to be like super careful.
So maybe find another facility for the puffin
patrol. So that's something we are trying to talk with people who run Puffin Patrol, if we can find some other facility. Like technically there's a site room next to Sea Life that belongs to the Technology Center that we might be able to use.
And it's only like what, month and a half?
Yes.
It's August, September.
But during COVID, they had it online. People could weigh and measure the puffins themselves.
It's still like that.
I think it's still gonna be like
so it's
that.
just the sick ones that you get.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
With the oil.
Or underweight with injuries. So I think last year was really good because we got only 30 birds, which was really nice.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
It was a really good thing, and last year we had only, I think, maybe 5 birds that were oiled, and all of them get oiled on land. One of them actually fell to the barrel with oil. So I would say that's something probably that Puffin Patrol kind office that have to work about making sure that people are prepared for puffling. So it's not just looking for them, but also securing your garden, securing around the houses, making sure that there is no dangerous place they can accidentally fall and get oiled.
But what about the pufflings that go into the harbor? I know there are some people that go and try to catch them, the ones that land in the harbor, because of they can get oil infected there also.
Yes, the harbor is not the cleanest. I mean, everywhere where there are boats. I would say last year harbor was really clean. I feel like harbor master is now really trying to make sure that also boat owners are more careful to not create huge pollutions in the harbor. But the truth is that it's just few drops of oil, and if birds swim through that, it's already problematic, because if birds it's covered in oil, it just starts to be wet, it's losing its waterproofness, it's getting cold, and that's how they are dying because of not being waterproof anymore. And so 2020, I think, was the worst when I started working in sea life, because there was an oil spill in the harbor, and then a few days later there was a sewage spill in the harbor. So it was 1 week when we got 120 pufflings that were picked from the harbor and brought to us.
When you say it, I remember everyone was asking for towels and everything just to clean them.
Yeah, so that was crazy moment with so many birds. Because it also,
were you able to rescue them all?
I think most of them, but not all. I think some, especially we had big troubles with sewage birds. Because oil is kind of easy to clean, if it's cleaned fast and the birds are not trying to clean themselves eating it can really kind of just 1 or 2 good washes and the birds are almost ready to go. But with sewage, because it contains so many different chemicals, it's also pretty much everything that people are putting the toilets, laundry, everything is in that. So those chemicals can really damage the feather structure, and also if birds are trying to eat that also is poisonous for them. So with those birds, we had lower success in rehabilitating them, and it took much longer for those birds to recover being waterproof. So we had 40 almost birds staying with us over winter that year, and they were mostly sewage, and we were calling them sewage pufflings.
That's a lot of work.
And one would think that because of what I don't think people actually understand. Everybody knows about the oil, how bad it is for the birds, but I don't think people understand how the sewage is bad for them also. And if they did, maybe they would think more about the cleaning products that they use, because everything ends up in the ocean. Everything that you use.
Yes, so that's kind
your
of
shampoo, your hand soap, everything.
one of the most shocking things for me in Iceland, because Iceland seems to be such a green and eco-friendly country, but most of the cities don't have any water treatment stations. So everything that is flushed in the toilet is just going straight to the sea.
I think it's only 1 or 2 in the Reykjavik area.
I think only Reykjavik.
But in Poland, that's every town has it. It would be crazy if they didn't. So I know many people coming here and they're like, oh, and I've heard that when the storm is coming, my toilet will do. I'm like, yeah, that's true. And they go, oh, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, no, it goes straight out to the ocean, and people are like, that's crazy. Especially when we are like you said, eco-friendly, green, and everything.
We try to advertise ourselves like that.
I want to ask you, because I've heard the stories, I don't know if that's correct, about people coming to the island and helping with the public patrol, but doing it the wrong way. Is that a common thing?
I don't really know. I don't have bad experience with, let's say, tourists, because I feel like most of the people kind of can recognize what pufflings are, and then the common knowledge is simple: just take them to the cliff and release. So I wouldn't say it's a big problem with that, but I think what it's worst for puffling rescue is a little bit the myth that grow around that, and also even what you see in the books, kids petting puffins or sleeping with them. Like I feel like people a little bit forget that those are wild animals, and the less human interaction is the best for them. Like they don't understand that being pet it's a good thing for them. It's really like terrifying, so they might not move, but it doesn't mean that they enjoy. They're just so scared, so they decide not to move.
And also because of the sweat and the fat of your skin when it gets on the feathers, that's bad too.
Yes, like in sea life we don't allow visitors to touch puffins because you cannot trust what you have on their fingers. It's not. It can be bacteria, viruses, like we all learned during the COVID, but also even hand creams, like any sort of chemical detergent can really like impact the birds because puffins or other seabirds, they are waterproof. One thing it's the feather structure, but the other is the natural oil they have on the feathers that can be really easily removed if someone's just sitting and petting them.
There's one book I read which was really, really popular here at the library, and it's about a woman who saves a puffin and then keeps it as a pet, and the puffin almost only eats bread in the book, and it takes a bath with the woman and everything. It sleeps in her bed, and and I was like, no. Do people think that this is actually the puffin would die of hunger if they would only eat bread?
I think it's just before. It's good that people are coming and helping because sometimes the amount of the birds is like it's a lot, but just know how to do it right. Because don't keep the bird, don't pet it, don't play with it,
don't hold it too much.
Don't put too many birds in one box.
Yes.
I don't know, are the plastic boxes worse than the carton ones?
I feel can be worse because it can get really like humid inside, and puffins are in general prefer cold temperatures. So if someone have a bird in a plastic box in like a warm garage or something, it's just a kind of sauna for them. So I think plastic are the best, and also cardbox are the best because you can also throw them easily. And if one bird is sick with something, you don't contaminate the next boxes. So single use card boxes are better for.
Did you when you were studying, did you specialize in birds or?
No, so I specialized in all animals, mostly like farm animals. But I also did some kind of online course about wildlife rehabilitation. And I think most of the stuff I just learned here by working with people.
Do you think you are going to stay in Iceland? What is your plan?
I don't know. Like when I came to Iceland, I never planned on staying longer than a few months, and now I'm almost 7 years here. I'm really bad in planning. But probably, maybe.
Like if not, what would you do?
I don't know, that's why.
Okay.
I'm really bad in planning.
Tell me, do you want to learn Icelandic? Have you tried?
I tried. I did one course in Reykjavik and I didn't like it. The group was too large. So my Icelandic now it's super basic. Like I can understand like some words, like I'm calling that like supermarket level. So I can understand when I'm reading ingredients, so that's useful. But yes, I would like to learn Icelandic if I just find some more time.
And you also, your workplace, it's very international.
Yes.
Yeah.
So since I arrived to Iceland, like beside the first few months when we've been working on the farm and then later in Westfjords in a hotel, like all the time we are just working with kind of foreigners, like in whale watching company, all the guides were like from all around the world, and we've been talking to customers in English. And now it's the same, like everyone, like our work language is English in sea life, so it's kind of hard to learn Icelandic.
Especially also when, like, wherever you go, you can speak English.
Yeah.
It's also the country that it's...
What language do you speak at home?
English mostly.
Yeah.
I could speak Spanish, like I understand Spanish, but I feel more comfortable to speak English.
But when you go to Spain to talk to his family, do you have to speak Spanish?
I'm trying.
Okay.
But I'm also enjoying the fact that I don't need to speak.
Oh yeah. Just keep quiet.
Exactly. I'm just sitting in the corner with my beer and enjoying holidays in Spain.
And does Rodrigo speak Polish?
No,
No.
he knows like few words.
Yeah.
It was funny when I had like little nephew and he's now 4-year-old. Like at the beginning they had the same level of Polish.
Yeah.
But now my nephew is better in Polish than Rodrigo.
Do you think there's something that we could change to make people like come to Iceland and do it the easy way, to make it easier to come to Iceland? Or was it easy for you? And you don't see anything?
I think it's already very easy.
Okay.
I feel like if someone has some connections here, it's very easy because I feel like people are always very helpful in explaining everything. So no, from my experience, moving to Iceland is quite easy. Maybe it's a little bit tricky at the beginning just to figure it out, all the stuff with like Kenitala and all the other paperwork that people need to do. But other than that, I think it's.
Did you have to plan some ahead? Of course, when you came here, you already had a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm really bad in planning. We just came here and worked
And figured it out.
Yeah.
But if you could change two things and don't say weather.
No,
in
I
Iceland?
like weather.
You like the weather?
Yeah, I like
okay.
the weather. So
Many people say weather. But if there are anything you would change, could you tell me like two things you would change in Iceland?
Let me think. I would say maybe prices on local flights. So it would be easier to kind of travel around
That's
Iceland.
a good answer.
Because I wouldn't mind, and also frequency of local flights. It would be so nice to just go for a weekend to Húsavík instead of spending 3 days driving around. If you can just fly to Reykjavik and fly from Reykjavik to Húsavík.
And flying from Reykjavik to Húsavík shouldn't be like the same price that going to Denmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it
But
doesn't
it
make
is.
sense. It doesn't make sense. So that's probably one thing I would change. And the other, maybe not in Iceland, but I think I don't like the medical service here on this island. I mean, I don't have much experience in Reykjavik, but I don't like going to the doctors here. I feel like 90% of the time it's just take ibuprofen and drink water and rest, like solution for everything. It doesn't matter.
And there's always this one doctor.
And then you have to wait maybe 2 weeks to get this answer.
Yeah, but when you go to the emergency,
yeah.
there's only one doctor and like, oh, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I think the healthcare system needs fixing everywhere in Iceland.
Yeah.
I think so.
But I don't know, like Fira, I'm kind of scared in the winter. Like if there's no ferry running, no flights, and like someone has some serious emergency, like ibuprofen cannot help for everything.
No, but I mean,
if it's an emergency, they will send the airplane, which is stationed in Akureyri, which takes 1 hour to come to here, and then you have to go to Reykjavik, which is about half an hour. But if it's a real emergency, they send the helicopter from Reykjavik. But that of course takes time. When I moved here, I moved here in '99. The airplane was stationed here, so even though it was fog or the weather was quite bad, they could always have a lift-off.
It's easier to lift from the island than land on the island.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes the helicopter lands on the street.
Yeah, and not on at the airport. Yeah.
But yeah, that's like a lack of security in this case.
So let's get more positive. What's the best thing about living in Iceland?
I would say the work culture. Like when my first work in Iceland, I was surprised how many breaks people take here.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, I'm not working all the time. It's like coffee.
Yeah. Like I'm always hearing like, oh, but you're so hard working. It's like, no, I just work. Like I just do like what I'm supposed to do. It's not even being hard working, just being efficient in those, few work hours you get. But yeah, and I also like the unions and all the benefits like people get like side on the, let's say, not just the salary but and also security.
Did you have to find out this information about the unions yourself, or did the union come and present you with like a pamphlet or something that you could read, or?
So most of that I learned by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was living in Reykjavik, it was kind of easy because the union there, like Efling, has everything in English and Polish, so learning everything was easy. Here, I would say they are trying, but the English service here in the union is maybe not the best, but they are trying, and now we have our.
They are very helpful, but getting the information for people that don't speak Icelandic can be tough.
Yes.
Yeah. But like every time you call them, they can help you with everything you want. But like, I want the basic information on the website, and it's not available.
Yeah.
Which is quite strange because we've had people working here in Vestmannaeyjar from other countries for a very long time. So I think they should have started this quite some time ago.
What they told me is like they want to get people to come to them and they want to see our faces, but like sometimes you don't have time. You have COVID. You could not do it. So.
I mean, your working hours are the same as the opening hours of the office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm also with you on that. I asked them like this year, are you going to make your website super good so I can apply for like housing and everything on your website? No, we want to see you. I don't have time seeing you. But about the working culture, I wanted to. We were recording with a Polish TV station like a week ago or something, and when I told them like we don't work here as much as you do, they were like working 14 to 16 hours a day, and they took maybe like an hour break for the whole day, and they were okay with it, and I was like okay, and we get paid by like the over hours, and we would get paid more for that, and we have like amount of hours we can work and stuff like that. They were surprised. And that is something I
do they get paid just after the project is finished? There's an X amount of money for the project,
I think
or
so, yeah.
not the hours?
Yeah.
So if you work hard and finish the project sooner, then you probably get more money for it, or
yeah, I did
per hour, you know.
Yeah, but like for me, the hours you did, and it was someone that has like me. I've been working here all my life. I haven't worked in Poland, and for them was like crazy. We can work 12 hours, 14, 16. We're okay with that, but I'm not. I'm not used to working these hours, and they were really surprised about all the like law about how much you can work, how you should get paid.
Yeah, how many minutes you have on break.
Yeah, every stuff like they were surprised about it, and I think it's not as common in Poland. I don't know it a lot, but I think it's not as common, so I'm really thankful that I don't have to work like 16 hours and have like 1 hour break.
There's a reason the unions got this through, because people were working this much time.
And you like you cannot do anything after like 14 to 16 hours of
your brain isn't functioning.
No, you like come home and you cannot like you just shower and go to sleep. You cannot have power for anything more. So I'm glad
You're thankful.
Yeah. I'm glad about, even if they don't explain in English, I will just call them and check. But thank God I don't have to work more than I work. You have any questions?
No, I think we're good.
Is there anything else you would like to talk about that we haven't asked you about?
I don't know. It's your interview.
No, I
think we've asked everything.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming.
Thank you for talking with us.